Hello everyone, my name is Michael and welcome back to another episode in the Selenium tutorial series. In this episode we will see how you can save cookies locally and then reuse them afterwards. So what we will be doing is we will log into Gmail, we will save the cookies after we log in, and then we will have another script where we will load the cookies, we will go to the Gmail and we will be already logged in by using the cookies, because that's why we are using the cookies, so we don't have to log in again. Now that's useful. Maybe you have an account where it requires phone authentication and you cannot really automate that, so what you can do is you can do it manually once and then you can use the cookies, and the next time you will not have to authenticate yourself again. So yeah, with that said, let's go in the code. So first of all, we will create another file called save-cookies, and here we will log into Gmail and then afterwards save the cookies. So the login to Gmail part we have already done it in the previous video, so if you haven't already watched that, you can go to the previous video and watch it and then come back to this video. So we can just copy the code from the old code, and with this code we logged into Gmail. And then what we want to say, first of all, I want to import time, and then after we log in, what we can do is time.sleep5. And we do that because whenever you click the login button after you fill up all your details, the login doesn't happen immediately, it takes a second or two. So that's why we want to wait for 5 seconds to make sure we are logged in, and then we will save the cookie. So yeah, have that in mind. Now there are better ways of doing that, like using a wait for selector function, which will basically wait for a selector that is visible only when you are logged in. But for now, let's keep it simple and have a sleep function. And then what we can do is we can have a variable called cookies, and then cookies are equal with browser.getCookie, and then we can print cookies. So let's see what that gives us. Now I have to add an account here, so give me a second. Okay, so now that I use an account, what we can do is open terminal, new terminal, and then we can run Python save cookies. So it logs in, and then after 5 seconds, it shows us the cookies. So as you see, there are multiple cookies, and that's basically an array of objects, which each object represents a cookie, and each cookie has some information like the domain, the name, the value, and some other options. Now we don't really care what those are, so let's leave them as they are. So now our next step is to save those cookies locally. Now we can use a library called pickle, and we have to save cookies to the pickle format file. So to do that, we can say pickle.dump, and we will save the cookies to the cookies.pkl file. Now .pkl stands for the pickle, like .py stands for Python. That's the file extension. So yeah, that's what we have to do. So let's test it out again so we can save the cookies. So we log in, and then we will wait for 5 seconds, and it should save the cookie. There we go. So there is the cookies.pkl file. Now what we have to do next is create another script where we load those cookies. So we can say load cookies.py, then we will copy paste those first few lines of code because they are basically the same. Now we will not use any options, so let me remove that. Neither we have to log in, so we don't need the email or password. And yeah, that's basically it. So what we say is create a new browser and then go to the login page. Now to load those cookies, after we go to that page, what we have to do is we can say cookies are equal, and then we can load the cookies using the pickle library, and we can have a for loop for each cookie in cookies, and we will add the cookie to the browser. But before we do that, we have to make a few adjustments to each cookie. So if we go to the cookies.pkl file, as you see, each domain is equal to .google.com except for some. So some domains are equal to mail.google.com, as you see right here, and we don't want that. We want all the domains to be equal to .google.com. Otherwise, what ends up happening is we get an error from Selenium that says domain mismatch, and that's because the domain we are right now, which is accounts.google.com, doesn't match the domain of that cookie we are trying to add. So what that basically means is each cookie we try to add has to be the same domain with the one we are currently visiting. We cannot add cookies to other pages that we aren't visiting right now. So to update the domain of each cookie, we can say cookie, get the domain, and then we can say that domain equals to .google.com. Now we could say accounts.google.com, but I don't like that because whenever we get to the Gmail part, we will not be able to see that. We will not be logged in. And I like to say .google.com and not accounts.google.com because just .google.com, that means it contains all the subdomains. And if we put a specific subdomain, we will not be able to log into Gmail or any other Google services. So yeah, after we do that, now we can have a try catch because this will not work with all cookies. And now some cookies give us an error, but we don't really care about those. So that's why we have the try catch. So that's it. Now we don't have to do anything else. So now after we add all the cookies, what we can do is visit the Gmail page and then sleep for 2 minutes so we can see it actually works. So yeah, let's test it out. Let's run the code. Now as you will see, it will visit the login page, add the cookies, and then go back to mail.google.com. Now as you will see right here, we got an error, and that's because of our try except right here. But don't worry about that. Now you can just do nothing here, like pass or something. I'll just leave it to print, just in case we get any other errors beside this unable to set cookie. So yeah, that's it for this video. The code will be down in the description, so make sure you check it out, download it and test it yourself. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos, and hit that bell notification so you make sure you get that notification. And also let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see next, and also if you need help with any issues you faced. So yeah, with that said, see you in the next video.